It's fine. So once again, guys, welcome to the live stream. Here we have Filip Mówi po Polsku down here. If you don't know Phil, you should know him. Phil has a YouTube channel called Filip Mówi po Polsku. That's very simple, right? And then here to our, this should be my left, so it should be my left, all right?
You're right.
All right. So we have Trev. Trev in Poland, and he is actually in Poland. Okay, I already said that, or you didn't hear my joke. Guys, these two gentlemen, we've met because through the YouTube universe, we connected, and then they invited me to their podcast, and we had a lot of fun. Now we have like a little private group together, and we just hang out all the time. And since Carolina and I went on a YouTube live stream for the first time in Dominican Republic, we thought, hey, it's quite fun. And I just thought, now there's a very rare occurrence that these guys are both in Poland. Trev is living in Poland, and Phil is there on holidays. I already asked this question, but Phil, tell us how. When was the last time you were in Poland?
The last time I was in Poland was December 2019. So pretty much we came back, and there was already starting to be the warnings about international travel for the pandemic and everything like that. So we got back right in the perfect amount of time.
All right, okay. And Trev, how long have you been living in Poland now?
3 weeks, I think. About 3 weeks. And the last time I was here before then was winter.
Okay, and so you mean winter as in like into 2020 or
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like January.
So not that long ago.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask Phil because he's the one that has been the longest time without visiting Poland from you two. Although I'm pushing 2 years now because of the pandemic.
Phil, it's been a year, right?
For me, no.
No,
Carolina was
Phil.
there.
It's almost been 2 years for me.
Yeah.
It'll be December 2019.
Yeah. So Phil, tell me what is different this time around? What is different?
So a couple things stuck out to me. As usual, I've been coming here since 2009. So I think we've mentioned plenty of times that every time we come, everything gets a little bit better. This time it was the trains that stuck out to me. The last time I was here, I took a train from Warsaw to Krakow, and that was like the high-speed train. That was pretty nice. But the regular trains, you still had the chance of getting one of the older trains.
Yeah.
Right? Now this time when we got to the airport, we took the train from Warsaw to Białystok, and it's the brand new trains. They're all nice and everything like that.
Have you ever been on Amtrak?
Yeah, I take it.
Is
all
it
the time.
similar to that? Can you relate it?
I think these trains are nicer than.
Oh, hold on. Amtrak is like American thing?
Yeah, it's like
the
a East
track on the
Coast US
Coast
thing.
of America.
Yeah.
It goes from like Boston to Washington D.C.
How dare you?
Most
How
popular
dare you compare your American trains to the great
How do you
Polish
do that,
trains?
Phil?
How dare you? Have you any of you guys ever had an overnight train in Poland?
I have. Yeah.
No.
I love
Lublin to
how
Gdańsk.
his eyebrows went like, I have.
Well, yeah, it was kind of brutal, to be honest. Not the comfiest of situations. But yeah, it was like a 12-hour overnight thing.
Oof, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, it wasn't like you have your own private room too. It was like you're like seating across from each other in these rows, and it's like wooden seats, and yeah.
Carolina says, a new train without the lovely patterned velour seat. Oh, but yeah, those trains. I remember that when we were living in Austria, Carolina used the trains from Austria to, I think it was Warsaw or something, overnight several times. And the first time she used it, she was like scared, It's like, and I'm like, what are you talking? You're going to the land, your people, And she's like, yeah, but overnight. What's gonna happen? You know, some guy drunk on vodka is gonna come and sleep next to you. That's it. Okay, so let me ask you another question. So you say that Phil, that things have gotten better.
I would say things have gotten better financially, I guess is the best way to put it. You know,
Okay.
you like definitely in Białystok now. I see the amount of cars now that are on the road compared
Yeah.
to previous times that I were here. It's grown exponentially, and everybody's driving really nice cars now too. They're all driving BMWs and Mercedes.
BMWs and yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely you can. But at the same time, I assume this, you know, because I haven't been here since before the pandemic, but I assume it's the pandemic is the reason, because that's the reason why it is in America. You're definitely seeing things are a lot more expensive now in Poland. Like inflation has definitely hit Poland similarly to how it hit America. I assume because of the pandemic. Things are. My wife, you know, how it always works is my wife thinks in zloty and I think in dollars, and you know, so I'm constantly converting things to dollars. I'm like, it's not so bad. And she's like, oh my God, you know, this costs X, you know, zloty, and she kind of freaks out.
Do you think in kilometers at all?
No.
So nothing.
Remember, there's I have a video that Carolina saved the video. Like Carolina added once it was done, I show her the edit, and she added one line that literally made the video. I've gotten more comments on that line that she added at the end, and it was, I said something like Poland. It was something related to Poland cheaper, and she said you have to add there that Poland for Polish people is not cheap.
Right.
And we've gotten, I think by now, thousands of comments on that. And what sometimes Polish people don't understand, I think, when it comes to foreigners, is that, yeah, we have the foreigners that we know that they go and they are a little bit disrespectful, like, oh, everything's so cheap, blah. But there are some, maybe like what I think you mean, Phil, that you are thinking in not only in another currency, but you're thinking in another bracket of cost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking like how much I would have to pay if I went somewhere on vacation in America, right? And then I'm comparing it to what I'm paying to be on vacation in Poland. And
yeah.
for me, it's a lot cheaper.
I think we're gonna have a guest in a second here. Where is he? Vigo.
Vigo.
Vigo's watching cartoons.
There he is.
Vigo, saluda a todos. Di cześć ludzie. No, pero musi más alto. Di cześć ludzie. Co tam?
Vigo.
Bebe, muñequito. Behuye. He's watching cartoon, guys, so I'm sorry. Anyways, I want me to change. Guys, I want to ask a question. I want you to answer while I change some other cartoons. Phil, you said Białystok, which Carolina said that she loves the way that you pronounce Białystok. She's making fun of you. Don't let her. So, Białystok. Tell me about Białystok. If we're foreigners, what is Białystok about? Is it a big city like Warsaw, like Łódź? Like, tell me about Białystok.
So, out of the cities
Keep going.
I've been out of the cities.
How were you saying it before, though?
Huh?
How were you saying Białystok
I don't
before?
know. That's how we say it, Białystok. I got probably she's laughing.
Białystok.
But the stress on the wrong syllable. That's probably what it is. Usually Polish people make fun of me for that.
Białystok, right?
She'll probably say it. It's like Białystok or something like that.
Białystok.
Anyway.
Białystok.
So the three cities I've been to have been Warsaw, Krakow, and Białystok.
We need to add to that, man.
Yeah, and Białystok is definitely the smallest out of the three cities. But I like it the best.
What's the population? Do you know?
My wife, I think it's like 300,000. My wife told me.
So it's like the same as Lublin, I think, right?
Yeah, well, I haven't been.
Actually, I don't even want to say this because we're gonna get butchered in the chat if we say it wrong.
So I would say, because again, cities I've been to, Krakow bothers me a little bit because of how many tourists are there and how much English you hear, right?
Yeah.
Warsaw, especially this time, I get the same feeling as when I walk into New York City.
It smelled just like it the other day.
Yeah, like I took the train in.
Smell like New York City.
A little bit, yeah. It had that
Yeah,
New York
like
City scent.
there's like a feeling when you walk into a huge city, like especially when you come into the city on the train, you come up the stairs, and all of a sudden there's a heat, that comes off the concrete. When you're out in the village, you don't feel right, and it's so busy and so noisy, and you're just like, ugh, I grew up in the country. I'm a country kid, so whenever I go to a big city, that's my first feeling, when I get there. So that's how I felt was in Warsaw. So for me, if I'm looking for a city out of those three, I haven't been to very many cities in Poland, but if I'm looking at the three that I would want to live in, even though it's like the city that everybody in Poland makes fun of because it's in the Podlasie region, it's the city for me. It most matches the environment that I grew up in when I was a kid. So I feel very comfortable when I'm here.
What's that show? It's like Farmers in Podlasie. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You should be on that show. We should get you on, man. What is it, like Rulnice? Something Podlasie or something?
Yeah. But
Trev.
I would say just real quick, now the last two times we've come here, we've rented apartments, right? Because as I've told you guys, off the stream, I've always slept at my in-laws' house, and even though they have a 4-bedroom flat, 1 bedroom's for my mother-in-law's clothes. My mother-in-law sleeps in a second bedroom.
Are you sure your wife is not going to be mad at you for?
She told the story like 10 times since we've been here. My mother-in-law sleeps in 1 bedroom. My father-in-law sleeps in another bedroom, which leaves us in the living room, sleeping on the couch. Yeah. And so 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, even earlier, my father-in-law's peeking his head in because the TV's in there, seeing if he could watch TV, if I'm awake yet or not. So finally, I was like, let's start renting an apartment because B&Bs are very cheap here, And so this
depending if you're not Polish.
That's true. So this time we're staying in the in like a brand new building that's just off the Rynek, and I mean we even have air conditioning here. It's awesome. Yeah, this place is really nice. So not that we need it. It's rained most of the time we've been here, but it's definitely nice to have.
Is the air conditioning loud?
It's on right now. You can't even hear it.
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay, so I have a question for Trev. Trev, are you, first of all, before I ask before I go any further, do you still want to? I mean, do you want to keep your location even if it's broad hidden?
Lublin.
Okay, so now we know Trev is in Lublin. Yeah. So, Trev, tell me something. How do you feel? You're in Lublin. You're living there 3 weeks. Is it still a little bit like, man, I'm on holidays, or do you feel like, hey, I'm embracing. This is my new life. How does it feel?
It's like I'm embracing because I was here for it was 3 months this past winter, and even then I felt like I was kind of living here to a degree, and I feel like it's kind of the same now. So yeah, it hasn't really changed. Yeah.
Okay.
It feels right.
Someone is asking here in the chat your favorite places in Lublin.
Favorite?
Yeah.
Let's see. Who's asking?
You cannot say Carolina. You cannot say Biedronka here next to you where you get your perła. You know what I mean? Come on, you get more creative than that.
I say, I don't know. Then maybe people are gonna start going to those places, right?
I'm gonna stumble looking for you.
There might be a cool lake. There might be a really cool tower to go up. That's all I got on top of my head.
Okay, so
keep the rest private.
I posted, just a couple hours ago, so I don't know if we have. I don't think we have many questions, but if someone had questions for you guys on my Instagram, and actually some questions pop up, so I'm going to ask you guys, and you can both maybe tell me. So, for example, this one is for Trev. Kitty Katesama, she asked Trevor. She's going on Trevor. It's Trev. How did you?
I have parents. Whatever.
How did you get Polish citizenship? Isn't it through ancestry? So I'm gonna let you answer that.
I'm not Polish in blood at all. So it's through another means, which I'm going to explain in the future once like the entire documentation process is done.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Guys, go once again. If you're not, which I doubt if you're on VIGO'S that you are not subscribed to Trev, but if not, go to Trev in Poland and subscribe to his channel. So
We need Phil. We need that plug too.
I thought the same thing, Trev. The first times that I stumbled upon your videos and you had the Polish flag in the bag and those things, and I actually thought, oh, he must be a Polish American. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people say that. Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, you look like a handsome Polish guy. Weirdly.
Oh.
It's got too much hair to be Polish.
I want to read the comments.
You got to shave it down more.
If you were, you know, a bald guy, you could talk. But it hurts coming from you.
No, the funny story. So I was meeting one of my wife's cousins in the center of town, and he's a rather big dude, and he has a completely, bald head.
Yeah.
And so I said, man, even though I'm in a town full of Polish people, you stick out like a sore thumb when I got to meet him. And he's like, with that head of hair on your head, you stick out more like a sore thumb than I do.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Dude, you have like the God hairline though, seriously.
Okay, so
Seriously. Yeah.
I have another question from the gram. So it was one thing in Poland that one thing each of you guys can say that Poland should learn from the United States of America.
Who's going first?
Customer service.
Customer service. Talk to me about customer service in Poland. Your experience.
When it comes to documentation, paperwork, lines to, meet with people, sometimes it's kind of difficult compared to the US. The US, it's very easier to do in a sense, I guess. Phil, you want to tag on to that?
I mean, a lot of it, I see my wife's frustration when she's dealing specifically with government agency type stuff. When she's getting, my daughter has a passport. She has Polish citizenship, and when we were dealing with all those kind of things, it was a pain in the butt. I will say though, to give Poland credit, because everybody always brings up the obvious example of restaurants, and they've been surprisingly better this trip than previously. Like I've had zero problem getting the check.
I've noticed that too. They
come in the middle and they ask you if everything is all right, which they've never done before. So they're picking up their game a little bit.
I have a theory around that, and obviously, me having not been there for 2 years, I'm going to take a guess here, but I noticed ever since the first time that I went to Poland in 2012, that the older the generation, the more like things like customer service suffers, or it's just different, right? Like the younger generation, if you take any Polish person that is between 16, 17 and 25, 27 years old, it's significantly, drastically different in the way that you interact with them. You know what I mean? If you go to the infamous Biedronka and you stand there and there's a Jadek next to you, he's gonna be rough around the edges, compared to the younger generation.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So
probably, that's probably the same everywhere, right? Well, maybe not.
I think the States are known for customer service. There is, I think it's, you know what I mean? It's one of the requirements. You treat the customers as if they are first, and they come.
Yeah,
the
customer's
first.
always right, which is not even true.
Right.
Let's be honest.
I think Trev and I covered this on a podcast, to the point that both of us think it's a little bit too much now in America.
Yeah. Or sometimes, for example, like the waiter will drop your food down, and before you even take a bite or you have the food in your mouth, they're like, "Hi, how is it? How are you? How are you guys doing? Is everything okay? Can I help you?"
There's a great comment here by Zbigniew Pawłak. I think it's Pawłak. He said, "What is wrong with customer service? Why you want to force people to smile if they won't?" Dude, it's not.
We need the fake American smiles here.
Listen, they could, as far as in Poland goes, they can completely ignore me the entire time I'm meeting. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
In fact, I probably prefer that. The only thing I want is when I want to get the check, when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. And it's like, sometimes in previous trips, it was really hard to find the waiter to be like, "Hey, can I get the check?"
Yeah. You know.
I have this story
Go ahead.
too, where like I had to go back into the kitchen, and it was in Warsaw in the Stare Miasto, and I had to go up there into the kitchen and find the waiter and ask him for the bill.
Hey man, you Americans, you're so eager to just do things.
We're used to tables being turned, man.
That is true. It's a bit of a problem I do have.
But let me tell you something. When Carolina first went to the States, we went there in 2015 actually. So we did a road trip from Miami all the way up to New York City. So we rented a car and we did it in a span of, let's say, like a week or something like that. And the first stop was actually in Savannah, Georgia. So you're in the South, right? People, if you guys don't know, if you're Polish, you haven't been to the States.
Welcome to the South.
Yeah, the southern people are very very friendly, and so we dropped the bags at the hotel, and then we went to some restaurant to eat something. I remember that the waitress kept coming and just standing and say, "Everything okay, guys? Everything's good." Carolina was like, after the third time, she was like, "Why does she keep coming back? I mean, what is going on?" And I'm like, "She's just making sure that you're happy." And she's like, "If I'm unhappy, I will let her know." It's
happy and it's tip.
And
it's influenced by tip. It's about the tip. They get paid so little in salary that everything.
Let me put on my good American smile so I get the nice tip.
I mean, let's be honest. That's the reason why we have such good customer service, because people who earn tips are severely underpaid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have to do everything to get those tips.
Exactly.
So, Phil, tell me, because we are covering what Trev said. Give me in your case, give me one thing that you think Poland could learn from the United States.
I think one thing I always hear about, Polish people when they're talking about Americans is that are just kind of like optimism about everything. Like I think Poland's in a good place, and I think they're on a good path mostly. I see some signs I worried they're going to be too much like America. This trip, but in general they're on a very good path economically, and they should be more optimistic about that. I guess is probably a way to put it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of times, like American businesses and stuff like that, they're more willing to take chances where, people in other countries might not be able to take those same kind of chances. And I think there's no reason why, Polish companies, Polish people should be going out on a limb taking those chances, because there's a very good chance they're going to succeed.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's sometimes I get comments from Polish people that are they've been living in the States or whatnot, and they always say that this always surprises them, that people feel a little bit pessimistic and a little bit, but hey, I guess it's part of the culture, man. It is what it is.
It's probably why it survived for so long, right?
For sure.
Exactly.
There's plenty of reasons why the Polish culture could have disappeared completely through the history of time. And it's probably this mentality that they have that it's kept everything together for as long as it has.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another question from the gram. This is Marta Szelska. Marta Szelska, she's a YouTuber. If you guys follow her also, she has some great content. She's asking the best personality trait or treat. You guys say treat or trait? Trait. Of a Polish girl or Polish girls. Best personality trait of Polish girl is. So, Phil.
I would say for me,
you better answer this right.
how quick they are on their feet, to be able to respond to something, and how sarcastic they can be.
Witty, right? Like they're witty.
Witty, yeah. Like I know I've seen your videos. Your wife definitely is. Also, she's in the chat, so I better say
Too
that.
Too much. We have to tone her down a little bit. She's just constantly with a whip.
For somebody else watching, it's hilarious, right? I'm sure for you, it's a little bit painful sometimes.
No.
Same for me with my wife.
Not really.
But
not really. It's really good.
But even like when I'm at my in-laws' house, my mother-in-law, she's like 77 years old, and she will snap out a sarcastic response like it's nobody's business, And I definitely because to be that witty and that intelligent with your responses, it takes a lot of intelligence. And so I appreciate that about the Polish women.
Going off of that, I would say educated. My girlfriend's probably the most educated person I know. Compared to, for example, American women,
is she in the chat? Let me see. Is she in the chat?
Probably is. Yeah,
but I think that's true, man. I think that's true. I get surprised every day. I'm sure you guys also find the same thing on your channels when you see the comment section. Polish people seem to be overall pretty because education is not only how much you know, right? It's also manners, all that. But when it comes to knowledge of things, they seem to be just interested.
Like eclectic range and stuff of topics and stuff,
Listen,
for sure.
I've never sat with a person other than a Polish person after having drank 10 shots of vodka and someone is there with me on a wedding at 3 a.m. talking about philosophy. It has happened to me. I've had some Karena's friends and they're talking and they're like, what?
That's I mean, if I could add one more quick thing is Polish women, and I guess Polish people in general, have way more energy, during drinking, after drinking than I have. At some point, I can't.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I can keep up drinking wise, but eventually I just kind of slump into the seat and I get really quiet, and they're just constantly going and going and going. I tell my wife all the time, she probably goes at a party another hour past the limit that I've hit,
Yeah.
So, I agree with both of you. Seriously, I wanted to ask you something now regarding Polish language. Phil, your channel, which I should say that these two dudes have a joint channel. It's a podcast called the Polskast. If you haven't seen it, you are really missing out. Because I think you guys make it really, you guys make an hour go by really easily because it's conversational and you're talking about your experiences. I don't know. Go check it out, guys. And I'm truly a fan. But Phil, you have a channel that is precisely about learning Polish. Filip Mówi po polsku. Mm-hmm. You mentioned to me privately. You mentioned to us, which made me very jealous. Good jealous though. That this time around you were surprised by how much you not only understood, but compared to the last time you were there. Talk to me about how much more different Polish people in Poland feels when you speak the language.
The comment I get, my favorite comment that I get when I'm in Poland, these past couple trips is, finally I can speak to you in Polish. I can speak to you in Polish and we can have a
because they know your channel, right? They've seen you.
So even last time I was out at my wife's cousin's house, and we walked in, we said hello, and the wife said, Filip, siadaj, and I sat down, and she was like, oh Boże, nareszcie możemy rozmawiać, right? This is the favorite thing, and even this time. Last time it was more I understood more than I could actually speak, right? It was more like I was understanding what they were saying, but I was responding in English. This time, I can probably count on my hands how many times I didn't understand something or couldn't respond. It was like, the course of a week and a half now, it's been like 3 or 4 times where I had to go, what,
Wow.
So granted, they're asking me. We're not talking about philosophy. We're not talking about deep topics or anything like that. They know, They know they're asking me a question. So it almost feels like when they're talking to children, kind of thing. Where you can tell they're speaking more clearly. They're speaking a little bit slower, right? But just the fact that I could
keep up,
pick it up, and the fact I was very happy that I could respond this time, because I think even harder than learning Polish itself is the other skill you have to pick up when learning another language. You might know this, JT, since English is your second language, is you have to get creative about how you say something based on the words that you have in your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And, it may not, I have to say something, it wouldn't be the way I would say it in English, but I have these other words, and I can form the sentence using those other words that they have, and the meaning is the same, even though it's not exactly what I have to say. And I think I've gotten a lot better at that skill, and that's a very important skill that to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Trev, how about in your case? Because I know, I think it's we can admit Phil's the one that is the most advanced when it comes to Polish.
Oh yeah, I'm not at his level.
But Trev puts me to shame, so that is all good, you know. Trev, tell me something. How do you feel this time around, living there? Because you're living there, compared to the 3 weeks ago and now.
In terms of my Polish level.
Yeah, just inside a month.
I feel like, for sure, like, it's weird because sometimes I feel like I improve a lot, but other times it feels like it's like I'm rowing up a stream or something. It's like I've, stabilized or something. But right now I feel like I'm slightly progressed, just honestly speaking.
Yeah. Well, we have a Phil is always telling us in the chat. He's saying, you guys, oh, I cannot complete that sentence because there's okay, I get it. There's a secret that I have yet to reveal. But anyways, the thing is,
jokes.
yeah. But Phil said, like, Trev is going to just literally skyrocket, living there. And it's true, but I think that, for example, Phil, you are, I think, B2 level, right? If you take A1, A2, B2, B1, B2. You're like B2 level.
B2.
Oh, he's C.
B2.
I think he's C1.
No, I'm C1 when I'm drunk, and
Yeah,
I'm B2 sober.
At this point,
I think the biggest thing that's like, so for example, my girlfriend, she speaks fluent English. Okay, fluent English, and so when we've been around each other for the past 4 years, she's only spoken English. So now I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to kind of force her to speak Polish with me, and I think it's kind of like a reflex for her to essentially just speak English. So
it's hard. It's really hard. I've been speaking English to my wife now for 10 or 12 years or something like that. And it's hard to speak in another language when you've been speaking in one language for that long.
Right. And your brain is, it's going to take the laziest route, right?
Right.
So it's just going to go default English.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
But and this is, I guess this is a question for your guys' girls. If they're nearby, if they're on the chat, maybe they can. Do they feel that when they speak to you guys in Polish, being not the relationship language, do they feel that they are speaking to someone else? Do they feel like, oh, hold on, this is just not right? Do they feel like that? Have they commented on this?
Whenever I speak Polish to my girlfriend, number one, she's always surprised. And I guess there's that saying, it's like when you speak someone's second language, you're speaking to their brain. And if you speak their first language, you're speaking to their heart. So you can definitely see that reaction, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that reaction.
With especially to add to that with like curse words. I can curse in English and my wife doesn't really care.
Like, they don't feel
I
it,
curse
right?
in Polish and she's like,
and it's like, whoa. For sure. Yeah.
Don't you be, like, kurwa jego mać, like.
Yeah, it's like they totally feel it, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's actually great. So, guys, okay, let me ask you. I guess in 5 minutes we can wrap up. I don't want to keep you guys.
Dude, you should be a video news host or something. You would be a great TV host, wouldn't you?
Maybe we should start something together. In Poland, you would grab some. Maybe we can create the next FON. Sorry, I should not make this Polish. I just, Anyways, let me ask you guys another question. So, Polish people, we talk about Polish people all the time on our videos. Phil, in your case, you're like I don't want to say you're a mini celebrity in Białystok, but it's like everyone knows the American is coming, right? It's like, so
they shut down the town. I think we talked about that on the podcast, which is coming up, I think, eventually.
So tell me something, Phil, in your case, how, now that you are a lot more knowledgeable of Poland, of Polish people, the language, I think the language is big, right? Like the fact that you understand and you can let them express themselves in their own language. Have you noticed any change in their reaction towards you, or you feel the same hospitality? Like, what? Tell me about the difference now that you're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's not a
Actually,
guest.
Yeah, you're not a guest anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe you live in the States, but you're not. I guess you're not a guest, right?
I would say people are more impressed when I know something culturally versus language. Right. I'll give you an
Really?
example. It's when I'm in America, but I'll give you an example. Right. So when I lived in my old house, we lived very close to a large Polish community, and there's a Polish church there. They would throw parties at the church and everything like that. Right. And so my wife and I would go. We like to dance. They had DJs there and everything like that. And they said, and so usually the priest would seat everybody, like a wedding style, at big round tables and everything like that. So I know when people would see me and my wife sit down at the table, they'd be like, "Oh, there's an American sitting here with us, right? We're not going to have a good time because this guy's going to be no fun."
Really?
Right? Yeah. And then, then they see me pour my drink. I guess maybe that's the first thing. And they're like, "Okay, he poured a real drink." Right? And then once I've had, some drinks and things start, the lips start loosening up, we'll say.
Right.
Right. Then I spit out some Polish and they're like, "Oh, okay. That goes to another level." But then when the DJ plays like a song and I start singing the words to the song, that's when
That's it.
That's when, that's when I'm the best friend of everybody at the table then at that point. When I tell them that I've watched, when it comes up that I've watched Emyak Miłosz for 10 years, or I've watched Rancho, I watched every episode of Rancho, that's when you're suddenly.
Is that a good show, by the way?
Oh, Rancho, you should watch that. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Recommend it to everybody. Yeah. Hilarious.
Phil has Polish
about?
TV. He's in the States. He has Polish TV, literally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have American TV. I have only Polish TV. There's 140 channels.
House, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's when it's on. That's when people are going to invite you over to your house the next time they see you or anything like that. It's knowing something about the culture that really impresses Polish people more so than knowing Polish.
Okay, so how about you, Trev? Now you're living there. So tell me, how do you feel like a part of the? Do they treat you like a part of the gang, or you're still?
So far, yeah. Feels like they've taken me in, to be honest. Like the entire country, really.
Yeah, it's interesting because Poland up until recent times, and I still think to some degree this still happens. It's not particularly known for being, let's say, uber multicultural. Like when you think of New York, you think of London. Those are cities that you imagine they have everything in, and there are so many foreigners that it's like the city itself is made of foreigners. In Poland, up until recent times, you just read online. Literally, this is not my opinion. You just read online, and they say, "Oh, well, okay, with foreigners," and I don't think it has nothing to do with the fact that they're not okay with foreigners. I think a lot of it has to do with language. Like Polish people are very, many Polish people speak English, but they feel a little shy when they have to speak English. Vigo, want to say something? Jak tam ludzie? Nie? So I have the same opinion of you guys. Every time I'm in Poland with our friends and family, yeah, there's an element. There's an element of that you are the exotic thing, I guess. But he wants the pilot. Go.
Yeah, I don't feel like that anymore, in a way. Yeah.
I think in general there's more foreigners in Poland now, and so being a foreigner in Poland isn't as big a deal as it used to be when I first started coming.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Warsaw, just recently, it seemed like there was a lot of foreigners living there.
Yeah.
No, maybe that's changed and it's gone up a lot. Like
it feels like it's definitely
yeah.
Guys, I really don't want to keep you guys longer. You guys have to, all of you on the chat, all of you watching after the live stream is over, head over to not only to each of these guys' channels that I said, Trev in Poland and Filip Mówi po Polsku, but go to the Polskast, because I am sure that they're going to do an amazing episode wrapping up Phil's adventures in Poland. I even told them that they needed to hold back a little bit on this stream because they have to spill the guts and the beans and all the secrets on the Polskast.
We're either uploading tomorrow or Tuesday. Either one.
The episode before I go to Poland goes up tomorrow. Tuesday.
I might be changing that to Tuesday.
Okay. We recorded an episode already, both of us in Poland. We talked for an hour and then we stopped, and then
so we should be uploading once a week, I think.
Yeah, I texted Trev maybe 30 seconds later. I was like, I just thought of like 5 more things I could have talked about. He's like, okay, save it for the next one. So definitely a lot of content from us being in Poland coming.
I am gonna give you guys some homework. The homework is gonna be that once this live stream ends, and it just becomes a normal upload. If you go to if you play the video, you can see on the tabs it says live chat. I know because I didn't know before, so I was pissed that on one of the streams, I was like, all the comments on the chats are not showing. They don't show under the comment section. They show on when it says live chat or something like this.
Yeah.
So your homework is, because I saw a lot of questions and comments for you guys. So just go there under your nicknames and please answer these great people that have questions for you. I just didn't want to go one by one because we would be here for 2 hours. So,
or we can set up another stream and do it then.
Yeah, we can do it like that too. But I'm sure they're gonna be happy that you guys answer to them.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. Vigo, Becca. Vigo's gonna say bye to this. He's gonna say, Vigo, say, dile, do widzenia. Do widzenia.
Do widzenia, Vigo.
Okay, guys. Thank you for your time and everyone watching.
Thanks guys for watching.
See you on the Polskast. Cheers, guys.
Later.
Oh, don't say any bad words, because once you click the end stream, it stays recording for a while.
We're still going.
Okay, wait.